So, hello there everyone and welcome to another edition of Starry Skies, the monthly magazine that tells you all about what's going on in the night sky in this month of April. I'm Mark Hardaker, and unfortunately our friend Starry Steve Tonkin is still recovering from his recent car accident, so he's not able to join us this month. We all miss him and send our best wishes for a speedy recovery. He'll be back hopefully next month. But in his stead, I would like to introduce Kate Earl. Hello, Kate.
Hi, Mark.
So Kate is the chair of our local Wessex Astronomical Society, our sister to Fordingbridge Astronomers, and brother probably to Cranbourne Chase Astronomical Club. So we're three astronomy clubs all in the area. So welcome to the show, Kate.
Hi, Mark. Thanks very much for inviting me today. I'm looking forward to helping you do the podcast.
And how long have you been the president then?
Oh, just a couple of years. Yeah. So I've been with the society only probably about 4 years for my sins. But yeah, got voted onto the committee and here I am. Yeah. With a great team, though, that help us run the club.
And
yeah.
what do you do? What's your bit in astronomy? What do you like to do best of all?
Well, I'm a geologist by trade, actually.
Right.
So I came to astronomy a little bit late on in life. But my favourite thing to do actually is the outreach.
Right.
Really love getting the public involved and, do that wherever I can, or all over Bournemouth as well. So, yeah.
That's great. And that's the same for all three astronomical societies. That's the reason we exist, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
We bring our members together, but what we really love to do is to go out and pull you, the public, into the things we're doing and show you what's beautiful up in the sky and what you can see this month and, in fact, every month of the year. So, let's see what we can see this month. We're going to be talking about the stars and planets and other celestial delights you can see this month. So the full moon, of course, is our bête noire, isn't it? We don't like the full moon.
We don't like the full moon.
So that's going to occur on the 13th of April. So mid-month, we really should avoid for stargazing. So now, the beginning of April and the end of April is when the moon is new or just a thin crescent. That's a great time for looking at stars, isn't it?
And it looks like the next week or so, actually, we've got a clear run of nights, which hasn't happened for months and months. We've been living in a ping pong ball, haven't we?
Indeed. So. In fact, I would say, really, for 2 years, we've had no real astronomy weather, have we? It's been so wet. So our lawns are underwater. It's been dreadful. But March was a great month for eclipse.
It was.
So I wondered, did you get to see them both?
I did, yes. I got up quite early for the lunar eclipse and just saw it for about half an hour, disappearing behind the houses. And then I ran an event on Saturday, actually, at Hengistbury Head, looking at the solar eclipse with the public. That was really good.
How many did you have?
Probably about 200 people kind of came through. Some of those are actually coming again and again. They saw the eclipse at the start and then would wait and queue again and half an hour later see it at total. So, well, total for what the maximum it was.
Partial.
And the best bit, though, was that my partner comes up to me halfway through the session with a sieve and he says, "Oh, can you do that thing where you project all the little tiny eclipses onto a bit of paper?" And I said, "I'm sorry, darling, but I think they probably meant a colander. So same use in the kitchen, but not very good at an astronomy event." So they went away disappointed, unfortunately.
We also, at Fordingbridge, did the same. We brought a colander along.
You bought the right piece of kitchen equipment.
Piece of kit. So on our Fordingbridge website, there's a picture of our chairman, Duncan Reevil, with one on his head.
Yeah.
Because we thought he's a bit of a tin-foil chap. But, it was a particularly good eclipse.
Yes, we were very
able
lucky.
to show that from 10 till 12 in the New Forest. And when's the next one? Do you remember when the next one's
Yeah, it's August the 12th next year, so 2026.
Right.
Another partial here in the UK. So if you bought eclipse glasses or viewers, hold on to them, because apart from seeing the occasional sunspot, you'll be able to use them in a year's time.
And when's the next total eclipse? Can you remember when that's going to be?
That's in the 2090s sometime, isn't it? I know I'm not here.
No, we'll very few of our listeners will be around, I'm afraid. Even our kids and grandchildren
probably. Yeah.
So that's going to come in the UK.
So we have to go further afield.
Indeed. There's plenty of total eclipses around the world, and to go see them, I tell you, if you've never been to see a total eclipse, it is an amazing thing. It does funny things to you. It makes you cry when you see it. It's really strange. strange.
I haven't seen one. I was thwarted by the clouds.
Oh, but
yeah.
Did it go dark at least?
Oh, it went dark, so I experienced that. But a mile down on the beach, we were in Cairns, a mile down on the beach, they got to see it. So we were just in the wrong place.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Anyway, so that's eclipses. We're on summertime now as well.
I know. We lost that hour. We needed that on Saturday.
So that's, when I was out last night, it was 8:30 instead of 7:30 for getting dark. And that's really the end of winter, isn't it? When the clocks go forward, that's it.
It is, but that's okay too. Nice summer evenings with family and friends is very welcome.
Glass of wine and then go out observing. Yeah. Perfect. So we are starting to lose the planets this month. You remember our famous parade of planets we've had, which has been in the media since 2015, I think.
Hope you're doing that with air quotes,
Oh,
Mark.
my goodness, yes.
Planet
So the parade of
parade.
planets in January and February, we're starting to lose them. We had 5 or 6 in the evening before, but now we're struggling really just to see 2.
Yeah.
You can see bright Jupiter. That's still visible for a couple of hours in the west as you look, as the sun sets and darkness comes. Look in the west and you'll see Jupiter. It's still very bright, the brightest thing in the sky other than the sun and moon. And if you look carefully a little bit above and to the left of it, you can also see Mars. But Mars is receding from us now, getting dimmer and dimmer in the constellation of Gemini. And you can find them both on our monthly star charts, which are on the Forest FM website, as well as on our website at Fordingbridge and at yours, Kate.
They are indeed.
So we keep all those star charts in our websites. So what about Mercury and Venus, though? Are we going to see them this month?
I think they're early in the morning for some of the month, aren't they? The Mercury often pops up. Venus is there now, and if you're up early and you see something very bright towards the east, that's going to be Venus. But they're not best placed for viewing, are they? Really?
No, another couple of weeks, and Venus will be really prominent. But right now, it only rises just a little bit before the sun, so it's not great. So we have a constellation of the month every month, and this month it's the constellation of Virgo, the Heavenly Maiden. Not the Heavenly Maiden sat in front of me now. That's Kate. This is the Heavenly Maiden that's been in the sky for millennia. Low in the southeast sky around 11 p.m. on mid-April nights. And very appropriate, we have a maiden here with us today for a change instead of grumpy old Steve. Oh, sorry, Steve, didn't mean that. So where shall we start, Kate? Shall we imagine we're out on a dark sky night this week, first week of April. So what can we see? Well, first of all, the sun's gone, so it's crossed the equator on the 20th of March, meaning we're now officially in spring.
That's right.
And we've moved from using GMT to British summertime. Sun sets, though, about 8:03 in the evening. That's awful. Nautical twilight, that's when the horizon is barely distinguishable from the sky. So that's what sailors determined as nautical twilight. That ends at 21:23. And we don't get astronomically dark until 10 past 10 in the evening.
Yeah.
Wow.
You've got to light your late nights at the moment.
That's it. You've got to really gird up your loins and ready for a midnight session. So we only get 10 hours of darkness. So let's start in the west. Let's start with Jupiter.
Jupiter, bright planet Jupiter, biggest of all the planets. Of course, I'm sure they've mentioned on the Starry Skies before that if you grab a pair of just even bird watching binoculars and hold them nice and steady on a fence or on a car roof, then you can see up to 4 of the large moons of Jupiter, the Galilean moons. And they're wonderful to see because even over the course of an evening, they change position. And these were, of course, one of the kind of arguments that Galileo used to suggest that the Earth was not at the centre of the solar system. So very, very important objects and lovely to see them. Whenever I show people Jupiter and the telescope, they are so amazed they can see the moons as well.
Can I see the great red spot, though, with binoculars?
Not with binoculars, no. You'd need a telescope for that. Yeah, and also a timings chart as well, because it's not always on view, because Jupiter's got a very fast rotation. It rotates once every 10 hours on its axis, so much faster than our 24 hours, and so the great red spot isn't always visible, even if you have got a telescope.
And if you do see it, it flashes across the disk in just 4 or 5 hours, so you don't really have too much of a window to see the red spot. And is it really a red spot these days?
Sort of brownish, isn't it? And it's becoming less like a spot than a little pimple now. It's getting smaller, but it's still a couple of times the size of the Earth.
That's it. Starry Steve Tonkin calls it the lesser pink dot. Because it's no longer great, it's no longer red, and it's barely a spot.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll find that. So, and then if we looked above and to the left of that, we find Mars.
Yes, up in Gemini, and I saw it last night, actually. It's making a really sort of nice, sort of angled shape with Gemini up in the sky at the moment.
Yep.
Still distinctly kind of reddish-orange, but as Mark said, it's disappearing. Well, it's not disappearing now, but it's receding further away from the Earth at the moment, and so it will just get dimmer and dimmer, and in the telescopes it will get much harder to see the poles.
Yeah. And that's about the only thing you can see with a decent telescope is the white polar caps of Mars. But as you're saying, it's getting further and further away from us now. It'll still be around until through the summer, lower and lower in the west, fainter and fainter before it then passes behind the sun eventually. So, okay, so we've found Jupiter, we've found Mars. Now, again, imagine that we're looking up. Let's face due south, and there right in front of us is the zodiac constellation of Leo.
Yes, yeah, the celestial lion. Beautiful constellation that actually looks a little bit like it's meant to, because there's 88 in the sky of these patterns, but Leo and Orion the hunter are sort of just a couple really that actually resemble what they're meant to. It's a crouching lion. Yeah. Very important in antiquity, sort of important in Egyptian mythology, and it's got this very bright star Regulus, meaning little prince, and that's in the kind of sickle shape. So in Leo, there's an asterism. It's like a backwards question mark. And it's a great place to actually point binoculars. There's some double stars and some coloured stars there. Of course, stars are different colours due to their temperatures. So reddish stars are cool and bluish stars are hot. So it's different to your, opposite to the taps in your house. So if you've got binoculars, after having a look at Jupiter, train them onto Leo, the sickle shape, and you'll see some amazing celestial delights.
Right, yeah, and Regulus is it's a lovely star to find. I always say it's at the bottom of the backwards question mark, and it's a great little asterism to find in the sky. It's about 80 light years away from us, which means the light from Regulus that we're seeing left around the end of the war.
Wow.
Around VE Day, which is coming up again soon, isn't it, with celebrations of VE Day. So there you go. High, and we found Leo in the sky, so we're looking due south about 10:30, 11 o'clock when it's dark. There's Leo. Then if we just tilt our heads backwards, more or less overhead now, we'll see the Plough.
We'll see the Plough. And actually, that's one of the ways that you can find Leo, because the Plough is always in the night sky. It's one of the circumpolar constant, or it's not, it's an asterism, isn't it? It's part of Ursa Major, the constellation. But wherever you see the Plough, Leo is underneath the Plough. So that's why we can't see Leo in the winter, because he's too close to the horizon. But yes, at this time of year, it's amazing to see the Plough right above our heads. Yep. I associate sort of May and June sitting in the garden, as you said, with a glass of something, looking up, and the Plough is right above your heads. Again, a very important constellation in antiquity for cultures across the world.
And it's so easy to find. I think most people can find Orion, most people can find the Plough, and we use both of those asterisms, constellations, as signposts to other constellations. You can find, as you just said, Kate, you can find Leo always, as it's below the Plough. And as summer approaches, though, the Plough will start to swing back down into the western part of the sky, back to its usual position in winter where it's hugging the horizon. So it will swing around all through the night. And as I said before, we can use it to find many other stars. The easiest one to find from the Plough is Arcturus. And how do you get to Arcturus?
You arc from the handle. No, I don't know. You go to the Plough and you arc to Arcturus, and then I'm giving the game away here, but you speed on to Spica, which is another star. But yes, you arc around the handle of the Plough, and you will follow that curve round, and you'll get to Arcturus. Beautiful kind of orangish star in the sky.
Arcturus in the constellation of Boötes, and it's a lovely orangey yellow star. It's the type of star that's coming towards the end of its life. Our sun will become an Arcturus-like star. As it starts to use up its hydrogen fuel, it will slowly billow out and expand and cool. and become an orange star like Arcturus. But anyway, let's spike on down to Spica, or speed on down to Spica, which is the brightest star in our constellation of the month, which is Virgo. Second largest constellation in the sky. I bet you didn't know. Not many people know that, second largest constellation in the
which
sky.
Which is the first, Mark?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think, well, originally it used to be Argo.
The great ship, and then they split that into three pieces.
The largest one today is probably Hydra. Is it Hydra?
It is,
yeah. Hydra.
You can't trick him.
There we go. She was just teasing me there, testing me. Virgo is so large it actually takes the sun 44 days to pass through it on its annual trip around the sky. So the sun is in Virgo from the 16th of September every year until the 30th of October. Not many people know that.
No. I have to say, it's not my favourite. It's quite a dim constellation, but it's a very old constellation. I mean, now it's obviously represents sort of the goddess of justice, we think, and she's got her scales next to her in the sky, Libra. But the scales actually were originally the claws of Scorpius the scorpion. And Virgo was seen in Babylonian astronomy as a fertile furrow in a farmer's field.
But you can't say that after a glass of wine.
No, I can't say it without one.
So Spica itself, though, is an interesting star. If we look through our telescopes at it, even the big ones, we can just see one star. But in fact, there are two stars in that system. They're both massive blue stars, and blue equals hot. And I never heard that before, that it's the opposite to a tap. A red tap is hot, a blue tap is cold. But with stars, good point, it's the other way around. Red stars are cool because they're only red hot, whereas a blue star, blue-white star, is white hot or even blue hot, up to 15,000 degrees or more in temperature. And Spica is one of those. In fact, it's two of those. Massive blue stars rotating round each other so quickly, once every 4 days. You imagine how close they are to each other. And because they're so close, they're not spherical. How about that?
Yeah.
They pull and tug each other so that they're egg-shaped, and the two eggs are almost touching each other. So they're whizzing around each other, probably exchanging matter
material
between the two of them. And that wouldn't be a great place to live. You wouldn't want to be a planet around that double star system.
No,
would
you wouldn't. And of course, they're actually both within kind of the equivalent of the orbit of Mercury to our sun. So 11 million miles, which obviously sounds a lot, but that's nothing in astronomical terms.
Yeah.
So
Very, very close. And spinning because they're so massive compared to Mercury and the sun, they spin around each other every 4 days. That's very, very quickly. And we can only see that. We're only aware of that. Not because we can see it happening. We don't have a telescope on the planet that's good enough to resolve those two stars. We see it in the way that the spectrum of Spica changes, the way that the light from the double star changes every 4 days as they rotate around each other. Amazing. What else we got in Virgo?
Well, Virgo was the first place that exoplanets were discovered. We can't see these with our telescope because they're too far away.
Right.
We can detect them from their spectrum. But it was the first planet was discovered around a pulsar in Virgo.
What's an exoplanet?
That's a planet in another star system, so a solar system around another star.
Right. So it's not anything to do with Mercury, Venus, our solar system. No, it's somewhere else.
An exo solar system,
right,
I suppose.
Okay.
And the first one, we weren't expecting them around these pulsars, which are these rapidly spinning dead stars. Weren't expecting planets to be around them, but that's where we found one, 1992 in Virgo.
And how do we find do we use big telescopes to find them, or how do we know that at that distance there's a tiny, tiny planet? How do we know?
There's a few different ways, actually. You can image them if you've got a good enough telescope and you can block out light from the host star, and there has been some direct imaging, but often we also look at the wobble of the star. So our sun actually wobbles a little bit where it sort of sits due to the planets going around it, and the tugs of the big giant planets like Saturn and Jupiter make our sun wobble a bit. Well, that's exactly the same for other stars, and so we can look for that wobble in those other stars, and that's how we can tell there are planets around them.
and also transits. So we can sometimes see where a planet passes in front of its star. If it's properly aligned with the Earth, we can detect the very, very tiny drop in brightness of the star as the planet orbits. That's called a transit of the planet. It's a minuscule drop in brightness, but we're able to detect that from satellite telescopes that we have up there these days. So it was a shock to astronomers to find exoplanets, because we never thought we'd be able to see planets so far away, or discover them, let's say, not see them. But now there's thousands of them.
Over 5,000.
Over 5,000 exoplanets in the sky. Some of them are going to have life, we expect.
But more than likely, maybe sort of little small bacterial cells, but it may be bigger. That's still unanswered for now, isn't it? Even in our solar system, it's just us.
Yeah, we have to find exoplanets that are in what we call the Goldilocks zone, which is that area where it's not too hot near the sun or near its sun, and not too cold where it's further away. And we need water, and we need all sorts of other things to make life. So life is not an easy thing to get started.
Maybe we're very, very rare.
Maybe we are, yeah. So in Virgo, which is still our planet of our constellation of the month, there's a massive cluster of galaxies, and we can see these in the night sky with our telescopes. This is sometimes called the realm of the galaxies. Have you seen some of those, Kate?
I have to say I probably haven't. I'm not a big galaxy cluster person. Right. Well, you have to go somewhere dark, and I do a lot of observing under the light, I guess. Right. But I mean, I've seen obviously the Andromeda galaxy, which is very, very far away from where we're talking about in the sky. Yep. So no, I probably should, shouldn't I?
Well, that leads us to the Messier challenge and so on. But each of these galaxies, there's in Virgo, there's hundreds of them. There may be thousands of them, in fact, but we can see hundreds of them with a telescope. And each galaxy is similar to our own Milky Way. You know, the Milky Way that we live in has probably got 250,000 million stars, right? That's 250 million stars. And if we look out into Virgo, there we see...
250
250 stars, thank you. 250 When we look out into Virgo, we can see hundreds of these galaxies, each with 250 roughly, 100,000 million, something like that stars. So imagine how many thousands and thousands and millions and billions of stars there are there. Yeah. Lots of them.
Incredible.
Lots of these objects in Virgo was actually catalogued by our good friend Charles Messier. We've talked about him on the programme before. He was a French astronomer. And you imagine he did all his astronomy from Paris, Kate.
Yeah, under that light pollution then.
Well, even then there must have been haze and pollution in the 1780s.
Lots of smog and stuff.
Yeah. And he found catalogued 110 of these fuzzy objects, of which I think there's probably 12 or 15 in Virgo, all tiny little fuzzy points. And every year Fordingbridge Astronomers goes out and tries to find every one of those 110. And we did that last weekend. And we started at 6 p.m. and we finished at 6 a.m. and didn't have any sleep. And we found all but 3 of them.
Yeah, you did remarkably well. Yes.
We were so tired. And then the next day was the partial solar eclipse. So 90 minutes in bed, quick cat nap. And then out again. We were tired out. But one of the most beautiful objects in Virgo, the most beautiful galaxies, is the Sombrero Galaxy. Ever seen that one?
Actually, that one I have seen.
Right.
Yes. Yeah, because it's a particularly stunning galaxy.
So that's Messier 104.
104. But it was actually by Pierre Méchain.
It was, in fact, discovered by Pierre Méchain, who was Messier's assistant. And he discovered probably about half of the Messier objects. Yes, he did,
yeah.
Which then Messier catalogued and measured. But Pierre was doing lots of the donkey work at night.
That's right, yes. And Messier obviously included actually some that previous astronomers had found as well, but he catalogued them all.
And there are some that were lost. Messier had catalogued them wrong. They were in the wrong place. We've subsequently discovered where they all are. But that's how we got to 110 objects. So 104 is a lovely object. It's called the Sombrero Galaxy because it has a dark band through the middle of it, which makes it look like, guess what? A sombrero. We've put a picture of it on the website, so if you have a look on the Forest FM fan page, or on the Wessex Astronomy group, or on the Fordingbridge Astronomers, or on Cranbourne Chase, you'll see a picture of M104. It's very nice in binoculars. You'll see it as a faint smudge, but with a larger telescope, maybe 6-inch or an 8-inch telescope, you'll see that dark dust lane that gives it the appearance of a Mexican hat.
Yes, it's sort of an unknown classification, apparently, the Sombrero Galaxy, because we see it side on.
Right.
We're not really 100% sure what kind of galaxy it is.
Yeah, that's true.
And it lies on the border of the constellation of Corvus, the Crow. So the Crow was one of Ptolemy's original 48 constellations, so it's been known since antiquity. And it's a lovely little quadrangle of stars, Corvus, and it's visible sort of around this time of year for 2 or 3 months. That's the best time to catch it. But what I rather like about it, it was used a lot by mariners,
right,
because it was this very obvious group, and the stars, certainly in the southern hemisphere where you can't see the North Star, you can't see the Pole Star to navigate, so other bright stars were used. And instead of being known as the Crow, they called it Spica's Spanker.
She makes it up as she goes along, you know. This is completely...
Spanker is a type of sail, just to point that out to the listeners. But Spica's Spanker. So the M104, the Sombrero Galaxy, is on the border of Virgo and Spica's Spanker.
She said she was going to catch me out with something today, and she certainly did. Well done, Kate. We'll have you back again, I think. It's lots of fun. Yeah, so in fact, Corvus, if you get the Society for Popular Astronomy magazine, Corvus is the constellation of the month for May, June. So when you get your magazine, you'll find it written up in there about Corvus. Lovely. All these constellations can be seen on our monthly star charts, which, as I said, you can find on our Forest FM website, as well as on Fordingbridge Astronomers and Wessex Astronomical Society. And if you're interested in finding out more about astronomy, do please come along and contact us. That's what we're here for. Fordingbridge Astronomy meets every third Wednesday in the month at the Elm Tree in Hightown. We are not... a bunch of geeks with white coats and pens in our pockets and funny hairdos. We're normal people, mainly. We have a fun time. We sometimes say we're a social club that does a bit of astronomy. So please come and join us. You need nothing more than enthusiasm. One eye or two. And even as Kate will point out, I'm sure, you don't even need any eyes at all. No.
I have a lovely visually impaired lady who comes to my events, and so I try and do as much as I can involving sort of sounds of space. There's lots of those you can get off the internet. NASA have a wide range of noises that you can get in the universe, and of course it's just all about being interested in the world around you. Yeah. And, you know... It's the enthusiasm we like. That's it. That's what we need.
The eyes help. You don't need any big telescopes.
Not at all.
Binoculars, maybe, if you've got those. But it's the enthusiasm we like. Come along and learn about stars. And you don't need to have any knowledge either. We have people who come to us just to learn. And that's great. That's exactly what you're here for. So that's Fordingbridge Astronomers. Wessex, tell us about Wessex, Kate.
Wessex Astronomical Society meets at the Allendale on the first Tuesday of the month, and very similar to Fordingbridge Astronomers, you know, we feel we're a friendly group of people. We have a speaker come every month, and we also have the Durlston Alan Jeffreys Observatory over near Swanage, where we run events for sort of the darker months of the year. We've got one more left, I think, before the summer comes. So if you're that way, instead of sort of Fordingbridge or Ringwood way, come and join us. I own a little company called Sky High Astronomy. So if you're interested in events in Dorset, I list all the events that are happening on my website that you can go and attend to. A lot of those are free.
Yep.
So do go along. Yeah.
And then the third group is Cranbourne Chase Astronomy Club. We don't have a representative from a Cranbourne Club today with us, do we? But
no, they're a great... I spoke with them.
Maybe we should get the chairman to come along and have a word with us here. That would be a great idea. But they meet on the second Wednesday of the month at the Grosvenor Hotel in the centre of
and it's
Shaftesbury.
an amazing room.
It is an amazing room. It's an amazing place to go for dinner as well, and even to stay. The Grosvenor Hotel is a really lovely place in the middle of Shaftesbury. They're very lucky to have that. All three of our clubs, we all operate as one, more or less. We're all very friendly with each other. We all welcome new members. And as I said, you don't need any expensive kit. Just come along with a thirst for knowledge, and we'll look forward to seeing you. So thanks for listening today. We'll see you again next month, hopefully with Starry Steve, if not with Kate or someone from Cranbourne maybe. So it's goodbye from me, Mark Hardaker.
It's goodbye from me, Kate Earl.
And we look forward to seeing you. And most importantly, clear skies.